Nobody wants President Newsom either. Nobody believes in that guy. That guy, con man. Everything he did in California, from trying to mandate vaccines for kids to being caught public without a mask and lying about the fact that he was outdoors.
Yeah.
Nobody believes in that guy. He's just a politician, just a stone cold, narrative driven politician. Nobody thinks he's a real human. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's corrupt or not, that's a human being. You know what that guy is. Same thing with RFK Jr. Whether you believe that he's correct about vaccines or whether you believe his policies would be effective, and you know that's a human being. With Newsom, you got like this construct, this cardboard cutout of a person.
When Gavin Newsom's massive self-belief crashes into Joe Rogan's no-filter honesty, what you get is a takedown. So savage California might just melt from pure shame. Rogan basically turned Newsom into a cautionary TED Talk full of hypocrisy surface level fixes and fantasy thinking. This wasn't a debate, it was a demolition, and Gavin showed up like a guy with hair gel and a squirt gun to a wildfire.
Newsom talks about California. He's like, you know, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. Hey, they're all moving. The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. It's too expensive to leave versus all the bullshit with all the permits and all that.
Gavin's political career feels like drinking a green smoothie, made of smugness and slogans every morning. He probably claps at his own reflection, while California burns, floods, and gets buried in bills. Then comes Joe Rogan, the podcast king and sauna philosopher, and when even he decides you're the punchline, you know things are rough.
The whole state is just so poorly managed. It's so frustrating and confusing, and then he gets on TV and pretends like everything's great. Mm-hmm. And California's the best. We have the best state. We have the most amazing economy. And like, you're out of your mind, dude. You've ruined this state. Like, personally.
Gavin's political career feels like drinking a green smoothie. Made of smugness and slogans every morning, he probably claps at his own reflection, while California burns, floods, and gets buried in bills. Then comes Joe Rogan, the podcast king and sauna philosopher, and when even he decides you're the punchline, you know things are rough.
Governor talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down. And he did this little dance, like
some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward. And
with a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. These people lost their homes. A lot of those people don't even have fire insurance because the fire insurance pulled out of California. Like, it's all...
Joe glanced once and decided to tear the fake leadership mask off. It felt like watching a grizzly argue with a barista. Who thinks vibes solve policy? Gavin acted like hiding homelessness during tech events counted as fixing it. Every crack was. Innovation, every tent a pop-up community. Joe stared, wondering if this was satire, and his view on the economy was simple. Tax everyone till they forget what joy feels like. Basically a cleanse that leaves you broke and running for the nearest exit.
Bizarre. I did enjoy affecting the election.
Oh, dude, imagine. I can imagine.
I did enjoy it because I didn't want to. I did not want to get involved in any way, shape, or form. But it got so weird.
Yeah, you'd expressed that publicly in the past.
I was like, I don't want to have nothing, and I don't want to have anything to do with it in the future. I didn't want to. I just felt sucked into it. I'm like, like, we can't do this again. We can't do it with these same people that does for 4 years, and then they're gonna we're gonna do it differently now. Like, what's going on? Did you see what's going on? Obviously, you've seen what's going on in California. But the governor gave this creepy fucking...
Glanced once and decided to tear the fake leadership mask off. It felt like watching a grizzly argue with a barista. Who thinks vibes solve policy? Gavin acted like hiding homelessness during tech events counted as fixing it. Every crack was. Innovation, every tent a pop-up community. Joe stared, wondering if this was satire, and his view on the economy was simple. Tax everyone till they forget what joy feels like. Basically a cleanse that leaves you broke and running for the nearest exit.
I had a great relationship with President Xi. We got along very well. And they treated me better than anybody has ever been treated. And I said, this air is good. Do you know they closed every factory 1 week before I got there from within 200 miles?
That's like what Gavin Newsom did when Xi Jinping came to San Francisco.
He cleaned it up.
He cleaned it up. He got rid of all the homeless people.
Isn't that terrible in a way? To think, he cleaned it up and then it became a pigsty.
Well, the dumbest thing is he said when your friends come by, when you have visitors, you clean up your house. Like, how about just keep your fucking house clean?
Can you imagine?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard anybody say ever as a governor as to excuse to why you finally cleaned up.
People are fleeing California like it's a sinking ship, and Gavin's plugging holes with flyers. Joe packed up, moved out, and turned the exit into a podcast episode dragging Gavin's policies behind him like a trash can raccoon. And when it comes to schools, Gavin runs it like an arts and crafts session. Kids leave knowing about feelings, but not fractions. Joe talks to experts all day and couldn't believe the justice system worked like an arcade. If overdue books bring harsher penalties, then robbery, maybe start over.
Gavin Newsom said to him?
No.
Pull that post up, Jamie. Gavin Newsom said that you should be posting this. That we're going to make it illegal. I'm going to sign a law. And he said, professor suck.
Didn't.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Elon
he did.
said that to Gavin Newsom?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I checked with renowned world authority Professor Sug on D's nuts, and he said parody.
How we hit Gavin's brand, a political Instagram filter, smooth, fake, and filtered every move says, trust me, I practiced this pose for an hour. Joe lives off thoughts, kettlebells and mushrooms, and poked right through the act. You can't beat a guy who interviews neuroscientists, then shrugs off your campaign tour. Gavin thinks hair equals leadership. He rolls sleeves like he's about to fix something, but only fixes his tone. Joe spotted the fraud from a mile away, detecting lies, while Gavin turns state failure into stock photos and still believes he can run the country. His big fix is always another buzzword. Joe almost choked laughing.
Is doing right now with his podcast, because I've said I'm against conservatives going on his podcast because I think it's helping him train for 2028.
Yeah,
I don't think we should help him.
I agree completely. I didn't think that. I know, obviously.
He's strong. Gavin Newsom's not strong. He's French laundry. He's too pretty. He's too needy of like the good opinion of people like Charlie, who I love. But like as a Democrat, you shouldn't be looking for approval from Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. He's a little too.
California's transport is a punchline bullet trains that crawl in billions. Dumped on nothing, Joe heard the pitch and laughed like someone selling waterproof firewood. It's all show, and when blame comes around, Gavin dodges like he's in a courtroom dodgeball game. Never his fault, always just nearby. Joe doesn't play that game. He cuts through with jokes and reminders that Gavin is the system and has been for years. Gavin acts stunned when his own ideas fail like a chef surprised. That grease caught fire still. He thinks he's the grown-up giving speeches on plastic, while folks lose power and walk through tent cities.
Smart to start this. And the reason he's smart to start it is because he has no muscles, Emily. None. He's a sinewy little weakling when it comes to arguing any of these issues, especially cultural issues, because he, like all liberals, has never had to do it. So now he's trying to get his training, which is smart on his part, and it would be smart on the part of conservatives to say no, because they declined to help him get in shape before the big bout. We're supposed to be helping Rocky, not...
And best of all, Gavin says it all with that frozen face like every sentence is saving the world one hashtag at a time. Meanwhile, Joe has spoken to rocket scientists and moon conspiracy fans, yet still finds Gavin harder to follow than a goat on skates. Gavin thinks he's the movie genius, but only he believes it. Joe just revved up and tore through the jungle of nonsense, rules on rules, and that familiar smell of fake confidence.
15,000 acres. In LA, at least 17,000 acres have been burned to the ground, have been eliminated. I heard somebody saying it looks like Mars. Like it looks like the surface of Mars now, just burned embers. An area bigger than the island of Manhattan. Think of if New York were just eliminated. It looks, forgive me, but it looks like a nuclear bomb hit the region. Just a huge swath of one of our most beautiful cities is gone. She's going. I don't know if she knows that. Gavin Newsom, same. You're effed. Stop telling us about the embers in your hair. It's over for you, my friend. I'm sorry, but your political career ended last week. Again, he's pretending like...
Gavin avoids questions like he's training for the circus. Joe watches with that confused look, and it's like seeing a skyscraper fall in slow motion. One wrong line, and the illusion shatters faster than his polling when summer hits, and the AC fails. Gavin thinks California glows like a beacon, but really it's a bug zapper. Loud, bright, and deadly. Joe saw it up close like a slow explosion. Gavin called it progress. Joe called it what it was. People aren't leaving for no reason there. Running with refunds and waving at Texas.
I don't think Gavin Newsom is the great white hope of the Democratic Party. I really don't. I don't see it happening. Am I wrong? I realize he's got the widow's peak. That's in his favor. He's got the gravelly voice. I don't think I thought Bashir could do it because he's a blue governor in a red state, Kentucky. But the more I listen to him, the more I'm like, he can't do it. He seems pathetic.
End of the day, Joe didn't even have to attack. Gavin built the failure himself out of bad laws and unchecked pride. Joe flicked a flashlight at it, laughed, and asked if anyone else noticed. Californians nodded in the dark. It's during yet another blackout because if your state leads in taxes, homelessness, and exodus, you don't need to roast your own record is the punchline. Gavin's big legacy is convincing millions to pay more just to watch everything collapse. Like a vegan souffle in a hurricane, he walks around like a parody king. In a broken country doesn't need a speech. The nonsense speaks for itself louder than any press conference and crashes harder than the budget. During wildfire season,
Put together after Newsom was out there claiming, never.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. Latinx and Black communities.
You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
That's so fun. Gavin, a simple Google search about yourself will serve you well before you make these sweeping claims. But on the same dishonest, disingenuous front, he tried to act like he's the reasonable one on the trans and the children.
Gavin still acts like he's giving a healing speech to save the planet. But Joe already gave the eulogy, not just for his image, but for the fake fantasy where high taxes, joy bans, and crumbling roads count as progress. Joe wasn't being mean, he was being honest, like warning someone they've got spinach in their teeth. Before a photo shoot, except the spinach was an entire failed governorship, and Gavin just kept smiling like he's the only one who can't see the emperor's naked and charging extra to say it out loud.